Blue 52! Blue 52! Hut, hut! What's up, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you out there. I'm Trey Griggs, your host of Standing Out. Thanks for joining us today on this show. We're going to have a great show today for you. We've got some great shows all week long. So we have another great show on Tuesday at 2 p.m. So make sure you come back every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Central for an episode of Standing Out, a show about sales, marketing, and leadership. Before we get started today, I want to say thank you to my friends over at Amplify Logistics for the great swag. This polo is freaking awesome. The kind of thing that I would take on vacation and play golf out on the road for sure. So remember, if you're going to have swag, it's got to be good. It's got to be high quality, well designed, and it has to be functional. Something people can use, So if you do that, if you get something that people want to take with them on vacation, you have good swag out there. So thanks again to my friend Matt and on the team over there at Amplify Logistics for the great swag. Definitely appreciate that. Also, want to just remind you, make sure you check us out at betaconsultinggroup.com. We are helping logistics companies, tech and freight brokers with their messaging and their customer testimonial videos. So important, the words that you use and how you communicate with your market audience. So make sure you go to our website, click that button that says schedule a call with yours truly. Tell us your story, and we would love to help you write yours. Also follow us on social media at TreyGriggs24 and Beta Consulting Group all around on all the platforms that are out there. All right. Also, lastly, before we bring on our guest today, got to say thank you to our friends over at SPI Logistics for making the show possible. Listen, if you're a freight broker or an agent, or if you're thinking about becoming an agent and you're just tired of all the back office, the work that goes into it, and you just want to stay in your sweet spot, make sure you check out my friends over at SPI Logistics. They've got the admin, finance, technology, back office, IT, everything to make sure you have what you need to be supported, stay in your sweet spot, spend time with customers, booking loads, and everything else is off of your plate. Check them out at success.spi3pl.com. Again, that's success.spi3pl.com. We'll put this into the comments of the show as well, make it super easy for you to get around. All right. It is time to bring on our guest on today's show. This guy's been a pioneer in technology for a long time, coming to us from way up north of the border, doing some great work over at 2Ship. Everybody, please welcome to the show my good friend Russ Proos.
Be afraid of the dark.
This is like a nice 60s high school dance song right here. I like this. I like the vibe. Russ, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Trey?
Thanks for being on the show. It's so funny because every day, the guest gets to pick the walk-up song, and so we just never know what we're going to get. And so having this one, You Never Walk Alone, it's the first time we've had it on the show. You can rest assured of that. It's the first time we've had it. So.
First Liverpool fan in your show, then, man.
That's definitely true. I would say that we haven't had a lot of people from across the pond or who have been associated with that in any way. And so with your Toronto roots and all of that, we have not had that. That's for sure. So, all right, well, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you got going on over at 2Ship.
Well, myself, born in South Africa, raised in South Africa, came to this cold country when I was 18. Been here for a while now. I won't divulge how long because you'll do the math. But yeah, look, man, I kind of got tossed into the logistics world, probably like everyone else. Didn't really plan to find myself here at any point in time when I was younger. And yeah, been, building 2Ship with a great team for the last I don't know, 20 years since we started writing, our first line of code with a part-time developer. So it's been a cool journey, man. It's always, dynamic. It's never boring. And at the end of the day, you just kind of get stuck in logistics and they don't let you out.
Yeah. We hear that story all the time. People are in logistics, can't get out, not sure how they got in, but we're all here. And it is a good industry to be in. So it's not the worst thing in the world. So 2 decades you've been working on this thing. We're going to talk about it more, but a lot has changed in the industry in the last 2 decades. I'm sure you've seen quite a bit. But before we get to that, got to ask you a question. Are you a coffee drinker or a water drinker? Which one do you want? We're going to send you one today for being on the show. Which one do you like?
I'm a water and a tea drinker, so either one's going to work great. Man.
You want us to surprise you? All right. We'll
Yeah.
surprise you. We'll just send something out. We'll see what you get, and
Right.
then take a picture with it, throw it on social when you get a chance, whenever you get it. We appreciate you being on the show today. All right. So you're from South Africa. Let's talk about that for a minute. I don't know too many people who are from South Africa. What was it like then? What do you go back now? What's it like now? Just give us a little insight on South African life.
Very interesting place, man. Like beautiful country, awesome people. A lot of bad stuff going on at the same time, which is pretty much why I left. Crime, violence, all indiscriminate. Still kind of, not the safest place on the planet to kind of live in. And haven't been back in 18 years, man. It's like,
Oh, wow.
we have offices there now. We do a lot of business in Southern Africa as well. Great people down there running, our show and doing their thing. But it's definitely something I need to get back to. It's with you, put it that way.
I've heard it's beautiful. That's something I've heard before from people who've either been there, or I have a couple of people who are from there, but very, very limited. The people I know from there heard it's beautiful, but also heard it's a little volatile. So that's right on you with what I thought on that. So with that in regards, Two Ship is truly global. You guys are working with customers all across the globe.
North America, Europe, Southern Africa, Australia region, kind of working our way in between all these places. But slowly but surely, it's like adding carriers and currencies and things in different, regions. And it's an interesting time, man, especially in South Africa and like the African continent as a whole and emerging e-commerce markets and things. And we love to kind of find ourselves, in those places on the cusp, rather than kind of getting into more of a mature region itself. So yeah, that's interesting. There's got to be extra challenges when you're talking about different continents, obviously a lot of different time zones, different currencies, different governments. That has to be quite the challenge that you just kind of slowly tack on as a CEO and as a leader and get warmed up to a little bit, but it seems like quite a bit to juggle. Yeah, it is. The biggest, the biggest hurdles, I would say, are actually what we have to work with the carriers and their technology in those regions, which is, at the end of the day, very different to what we're used to in, Western Europe, North America, things like that. Australia has their stuff together, but there's definitely some challenges, man. And our biggest challenge at the end of the day is, putting all these different couriers, carriers into the same piece of software. And at the end of the day, the user experience, no matter who they're shipping with, has to be the same. So we're always plugging gaps, band-aiding things, kind of finding ourselves in the middle to like almost improve the technology that is given to us so that our customers don't feel it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can only imagine even just in America, the technology that carriers and brokers and shippers use is all very different. It's antiquated and it's very much kind of compartmentalized across the board. Having to make connectivity is difficult. You throw in new countries, you throw in new types of vehicles, because I know in Europe they have slightly different types of vehicles than what we have here in the States and what's going down the road. I imagine South Africa might be somewhat similar. I don't know about Australia, but you got different equipment, different technologies, different processes, different requirements from the government, whatever it might be. There's a lot of that to throw in and try to make it work is quite the challenge. But you guys have somehow figured out how to do that, which is impressive.
Yeah, baby steps, man. It's that's why we've been in this for a long time, and like we kind of figured out how to make things work with very little, and develop a lot of modules, a lot of functionality and features to kind of plug those gaps where we find that.
Yeah, isn't that all business though? I mean, it's kind of baby steps. You just keep learning. It's just a continual learning journey. And I'm curious. One thing we like to talk about on the show is leadership, and certainly being the CEO, president of a global organization like Two Ship. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in leadership? Like, how do you really define that? How do you think about leadership and what's important?
Oh, great question, man. I think when I started, I was more like just that, entrepreneur, had like a spirit to like kind of create and get creative, in what we were doing. Didn't really have a background and read much or learn much about being a leader until, all of a sudden I turned around and there's enough people in our organization, to, okay, I better kind of figure this out. It's not me and a few developers kind of doing everything anymore.
Right. Right.
And yeah, I've had like some really smart people kind of guide me over the years and teach me some stuff. Even people that we've employed now within Two Ship to kind of, help me be a better leader. But what I've found really ultimately at the end of the day is it's finding the right projects and the right tasks that fit the right people within your organization. Team building. I love to get my hands dirty at the end of the day. So I'm always involved in, the solutions calls, the support stuff. I'm always kind of dabbling in everything just to see how it's going and how we can make it better. But I found that trying to empower people to just do their thing and know what they do well and give them the stuff that falls into their sweet spot is what gives us at the end of the day the best productivity we can wish for.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. When you get the right people in the right seat, they do amazing work, better than you would ever do. And
Correct.
we have a small team at Beta Consulting Group, but I've already seen a lot of that take place where I let my hands off the wheel a little bit, let somebody else take the wheel, and then the result is significantly better than what I would have done. Yeah, and
it's like both hands on the wheel, like gripping tight, white knuckled, man. Like being labeled a control freak for many years by many people. But at the end of the day, it's always just that trust. You just got to trust the people you have, and if they understand that they're in that position, and I think that you trust them, and that's the empowerment they need to really, succeed. And at the end of the day, it's more about what I've learned gives us the best results is, empower the people, get them to want to, at the end of the day, succeed and deliver what their peers are expecting out of them. Not really that iron fist type of threatening type of environment that I've seen and worked in before as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point to think about. Just again, getting people. I think that's the hardest part of a leader is sometimes motivating people, but I really believe if you get them in the right seat on the bus and definitely on the right bus, kind of the good to great philosophy, they'll do great work and they'll be very, very fulfilled and very satisfied. And it's fun to watch. Like I love seeing my team come up with new things that are just phenomenal ideas and running with it. That's been really, really, really fun to see. Let me ask you this question real quick. If you think back to your career, I mean, you've been in leadership now for over 20 years, maybe longer than that. I don't know. But what is something that you wish someone would have told you earlier in your career, or maybe a better way is what's something you wish you could go back and tell yourself back in the day that maybe would have helped you out a little earlier?
I think what I touched on before, man, which is, kind of let go of the reins and other people, you can trust other people. They're smart enough to deal with things, and finding the right people, right? Beggars can't be choosers at the beginning, which was like tough for us. And we had people, who we threw into support who should never have been in support. One of my best friends was our first employee, and bless his heart, man, like the greatest guy on the planet. No temperament for support, a Scorpio through and through, just like myself. And that was the kind of stuff I learned. Like you just got to find the right person for the right type of task with the right aptitude, and then it becomes way easier.
Are you guys still friends today?
Oh yeah, he's still here.
Survive.
He's in a spot that really lets him thrive, and we keep him far away from customers as possible.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's so awesome. Well, my dog has found a squirrel outside, so you can hear him barking just a little bit. We'll get through that just fine. But no, I think that's really interesting to think about that. About just like finding the right people and just getting rid of stuff off your plate. That's really, really important to do that. Let's switch gears for just a minute. You've been in the business a long time. Did you guys ever have to pivot in your business? We've been in business almost 2 years, and we've pivoted twice already, just trying to find product market fit. What was it like for you on this journey? Did you have to pivot a lot, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, very interesting. We always kind of started out trying to be a software as a service, back in the day when the World Wide Web was this kind of, new thing, and everyone
We're dating ourselves here, Russ.
Yeah, exactly. And like kind of thought, oh, this thing's going to stick around, so we might as well like get creative within it. But we set out to be more of a mid-sized small business solution. All right, like my consulting at a worldwide carrier before I started Two Ship was kind of led me to see how big corporations and enterprises had some tools and TMSs, deployed solutions. They cost a fortune. So the small business really didn't have a budget or hope in hell to compete. And when I set off in 2003 to start writing, code and really starting the company, it was really trying to focus on delivering small business a product. And what happened, was where the money sent us and where we could get customers, and what kind of took us down the path that we found ourselves on was more enterprise type of customers. And we became more of an enterprise solution. And then a few years back was like, okay, well, we've come all this way. We've got all these really robust enterprise types of features and all this stuff. Now we got to get back to what we intended, and we got to dummy this thing down and bring it, into a small business, simple type of environment. And that really became a challenge once we had become this enterprise platform. How do we make this a lot simpler for a small business, self-serve, subscribe on your own type of customer?
Yeah, that's
really
interesting.
where we had to pivot and rethink what we had done, and how do we deliver that and become, less of a solution that goes through 6 months of sales and solutions teams and all this type of stuff to become more of a custom solution for these big guys. How do we wrap this up, tie it up in a bow, and market it to a small business type of audience, man? That really became the biggest pivot we had to make.
That's a big challenge, no doubt about it. But it was also smart of you to listen to the market at the beginning when the enterprise companies saw what you had and that it worked for them. Go in that direction, because it's always good to listen to the market and see, where your product really is going to fit within the market, and definitely dumbing it down and marketing to a new audience, because a small, medium-sized business, it's a different type of owner. It's a different type of buyer in that regard. That's really difficult. So that's interesting. But yeah, having to pivot down is always difficult. But kudos to you for listening to the market and moving the enterprise route to begin with. Probably, I would imagine it's easier to go from enterprise back down to dummy down than to have to expand and make it more complex. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
I think so also. Yeah. Once we had got into the point where we were at, stripping out the noise and kind of really coming up with what was our core, wasn't that difficult, and what the offering should have been for small business. It was more around, really restructuring the onboarding process and the self-sign-up and things that we had never really entertained, because we didn't want enterprises, taking a 30-day trial and all that kind of stuff. So, interesting. I think either way you go, you're opening yourself up to a very different challenge and a different market. And our biggest challenge is really, being a solution that fits a small home-based user to a worldwide, national global corporation. The message to all different kinds of businesses in between that big array is very different. A small guy wants to save as many cents he can on every single shipment, right? And it's the big guys really want efficiency, automation, all the stuff, to get away from those hard and soft costs. But how you message that, what I've learned in the past is like, you can't just, put a message and everyone's going to kind of gravitate towards it. It really has to be something that's significant for the type of market that you're trying to reach.
Yeah, well, you're speaking my language, because all we do is help clients with their messaging, because whoever you're talking to, it really matters. You have to make sure you speak their language. If if your main target audience is like a CFO, finance director, but you're not speaking finance language, they'll know it. It won't connect. It won't resonate with them. So I think that's really, really wise. All right, let's switch to some other things. Football season has started here in America, at least football as we know it, American football. Yeah. You are a football fan, like a football fan. You're Liverpool diehard fan. How'd you get connected with Liverpool? How did you get drawn to them?
Couldn't tell you, man. It happened when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Most of my family were Manchester United supporters.
Really?
And yeah, for some reason, I don't like something about it. Chose their biggest rival, and yeah, many years later, man, just now my son is a huge Liverpool fan as well, and it's awesome, man.
So he didn't do to you what you did to your parents, essentially, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
exactly,
He actually
yeah.
followed suit, but you got that contrarian mindset. You decided to go opposite in that regard. What is it about football fans, like like original football, we'll say with the U in there, the football? What is it about football fans that makes them so fanatical?
I'm not sure, man. I've spoken to a lot of Canadians, Americans who really don't get the whole fascination with soccer, football. They want to see like goals, they want to see high scores, all this stuff. Like how do you watch 90 minutes and it ends up in a draw? There's got to be a winner, all this type of stuff. So I'm not sure what it is, but at the end of the day, I think when you kind of get into it young, maybe, and you actually play the sport and you're really kind of involved in it, then you actually want to gravitate towards really being like a fan itself.
Yeah. My only football, or we'll say soccer story, is I ran cross country in high school, and I noticed my sophomore year that the soccer kids that ran cross country didn't have to do cross country practice. They did soccer practice, played the games, and then on Saturday they came and ran the meet. I hated running. I much preferred running with a sport.
Correct.
And so my junior year, I went out for the soccer team and I played JV. I was terrible, man. They put me at right hashback. All I could do was kick the ball out of bounds. That's all I could do. And sometimes I didn't even pull that off. But I didn't start as a kid. I didn't really get into it. And so I'm one of those that kind of the fascination and watching a 0-0 draw is tough. I do like watching World Cup soccer because they give it all. Like I wish that soccer games, they gave it that kind of energy every game. That to me would at least be more enjoyable because the ball's moving a lot faster. They're trying to take more shots on goal. They're desperate. Like I love that attitude with soccer, but just watching a friendly, oh man, that's difficult.
No, friendlies are terrible. But one day when you get to Toronto, man, I'll take you down to Liverpool supporters, bar.
That's what I need. That's what I need right there.
Football
I
and
need to get engulfed.
Yeah, around, man.
For sure. Okay, all right. On the show, we like to play a game from time to time. So, Russ, it is time to play. What is that? All right, here's how it works. Just like it sounds, we're going to put some pictures up on the screen one at a time, and they are blurred pictures, and you and I have to work together to try to see if we can figure out what the heck these things are. I haven't seen them, have no idea. Here we go. The first picture that we have here is, let's see what we got. Oh, that's Mona Lisa. That's, yeah.
We got that one.
That's easy. Come on. That's a T-ball question right there. Mona Lisa. Easy enough. Okay. We don't even. Ooh, that was easy. Give us something difficult. All right. Number 2. Here we go. What do we got? Number 2.
Einstein?
Ooh, what'd you say?
I don't know if that's Einstein or my late grandmother.
Ooh, my first thought was Einstein. I've never met your late grandmother, so yeah. Let's go with Albert Einstein. Let's see if we got that one right today. I think we did. Let's check it out. Here we go. It's interesting. Nobody ever comments on how long his tongue is. That was a long tongue. That thing went past his chin. Yeah. That was a long tongue. That's something else. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. We got to think about one more. Let's see what we got. Oh goodness, that looks like a painting of some sort.
I don't. My wife's gonna kill me because I know what that is. I don't know if that's Van Gogh.
That's what I was thinking. Let's go with that. I was thinking Van Gogh. All right, let's
tell you the name of it though.
Let's try that. A painting by Van Gogh. I'm sure we'll get the name of it. Let's see. Okay, so is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, The Scream. I should know that.
I didn't know the name of it. I feel like I've seen that painting before, but I didn't know the name of it. So that's good. Is that the last one we have? I don't know if we have any more now. Let's see. Is that the last one? No, we got more. Oh, we're on a painting theme. I can tell who that is right away. Can you know who that is?
I do know it is, but I cannot remember his name.
That's Bob Ross from the PBS. I can tell by the afro. Yeah, that's Bob Ross with his happy trees. Let's see. Yeah. Here we go. Let's see. I bet that's it. All right, there we go. Look at that. Are we 4 for 4? This the last time we played this game on the show. I think we got 1.
Oh, you definitely
These are-
made it easier then, man.
These are a little bit easier. I know. We
Yeah.
got to balance it out. So next time, maybe just a touch more difficult than that. Let's see. Do we have one more? Do we have 5 total? Let's see. Is there one more?
Rushmore?
Oh yeah, Mount Rushmore. Yeah, this is easy. 5 for 5. Let's go. We knocked it out. That's. Have you been to Mount Rushmore before? Have you been there?
Nope.
Never. Oh, that's
Never.
actually worth going to. That's pretty cool. The whole South Dakota. There's a lot to see there, including if you go past Mount Rushmore, you get to Devil's Tower, which is also a really cool monument as well. So lots of good things out there. But that's a good one. So all right, well that has been this episode of What Is That? So let's move on. Let's talk about a couple other things real quick. So we like to also occasionally talk about the National Day and the random question. I think today we're going to move right to the random question, and we're going to close this baby out. So we like to have a random question. And listen, Russ, this question's so random. I haven't seen it yet. It could be funny. It could be serious. It might be a good question. It could be a dud. I have no idea. Let's see. Today's random question of the day is, do fish have a thirst for water? I don't think so. I think they have a thirst for air, which is why they jump out of the water from time to time. Some fish, not all of them do, but some of them do. I don't know about that. It's weird that we have animals that live in water and the rest of us that cannot. Like that, to me, it's always interesting that we have kind of two systems working at the same time. I don't know. I've never really thought too much about it. But do you like to go fishing? Do you like to go scuba diving, deep sea? What do you like to do with around fish? Anything? Just like eat them?
Love the ocean. Don't love fishing. It's a little
That's what I'm
boring
talking
for
about.
me, man.
From a football fan, fishing is boring. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go, man. No, dig at the fishermen out there, but I don't know. I just never had like a real fishing experience or anything like that. So
yeah, I think people that like to fish are people that like to just get away from people. That's what I think is really going on. They like to get away from people because you can go out there on the boat. You're not supposed to talk while you're out there. I mean, these are introverts through and through. They just want to get away from people. That's what I think. The fish are just a byproduct, just something to do.
Exactly, man. And
that's what I guess on it.
I see your golf clubs in the back. It's kind of like my estate's getting on the golf course every now and then as well. But
yeah, golf's my thing. But I like to do that with people. That's a little bit different. But yeah, I think fishermen, people like to fish. They just want to get away from people. That's what I think overall. All right, let's wrap this baby up. Good question. That's a pretty good random question of the day, I guess. Kind of weird. That's anyways. All right. What's next for Two Ship Solutions? What are you guys working on? You got any releases coming up? Is it just kind of business as usual? Just kind of slow improvements? What do you
got? There's always stuff going on, man. It's like developing new features, functions, very much into building virtual services now, like plugging different carriers into different multi-leg services that we can build on the fly. Just more and more carriers, more and more integrations to systems and marketplaces and things like that never end.
Yeah.
Just apps, retail location type of stuff, kiosks now. Trying to get into even a consumer space, where it's more self-serve and random type of shipments.
Yeah. Someone in the comments also mentioned languages. I didn't think about that either. You have to have multiple languages. I mean, in the European Union alone, there's a lot of languages in that area, South America, or South Africa. Sorry. Yeah.
We have about 16 different languages in our system now. We support about 9 of them, like from a technical support, aspect. But we have like our own dictionary essentially within our platform. So we try to find somebody who can translate into another language, import it, make it available, and it's pretty cool actually.
Wow, that is impressive. I wonder if AI is gonna will AI help with that? Because I'm sure translating using AI should work really well in the future.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. We've used some other platforms and mechanisms, but shipping and logistics terminology can be very often misconstrued. So we get something very different in another language that, in a couple of cases, has actually been pretty derogatory to some degree.
I could see that.
Yeah, so we try to find somebody who actually speaks the language just to check on things before we release anything.
Probably a smart thing to do, that's for sure. But I assume AI would be pretty helpful with that moving forward. Well, Russ, listen, so good to have you on the show today. Thank you for stopping by, telling us what's going on at Two Ship, and a little bit about your story. I guess if I have to root for a soccer team, I'm going to root for Liverpool now because there's not too many others that I know. I can't go for Manchester just because I know that your parents go for them. I can't do that. I can't.
There you go, man. All right, so my job is done. Thanks for having me, Trey.
Yeah, Russ, appreciate you being on the show, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, bud.
All right, everybody, make sure that you come back on Thursday, 2 p.m. Central. We got Steven Spires from Ease Logistics on the show. Going to be a great show as well. And again, a shout out to our sponsor, SPI Logistics, for making this possible, and to my friends over at Amplify Logistics for the great swag. Appreciate the polo, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day out there. We'll see you soon. Peace out.
Walk on.